So I want to talk about this, why the growl is good news, actually, because a fat burner brought up concern about having a grumbly tummy today. And the thing that I realized was, I checked in with her. It's like, are you lightheaded? Do you feel weak? And the answer was no. So then it was like, well, actually, this is a beneficial thing. And let me tell you why. So most of us have been taught to kind of fear the stomach growl, that it means, we're hungry, that something is wrong. And what I'll also say is that if you do have lightheadedness and weakness, you do kind of need to eat. And so unfortunately, that's a sugar burner thing. And the sad thing is that when the body feels really urgent, and it's not just like, I think I should eat, but you feel a bit kind of like physiologically panicked, muscle is a sugar burner's second line of defense regarding fuel. So what sucks about that is that when you don't have easy access to glucose, is that you actually do run the risk of breaking muscle down. So this is just another plug for getting your body into a fat burning mode for a million reasons, but that's just like, you don't burn muscle. Like, you never have the risk of that, but sugar burners do. Anyway, so if you are not feeling lightheaded and this is what's going to happen anyway, but you might consider doing what I'm going to suggest, especially if you feel clear-headed, in control, calm, but your stomach is grumbling. So basically, so when our belly grumbles, it's actually an indication that things are going well, that things are going right. So that rumble is called the migrating motor complex, or MMC is how we're going to refer to it. And basically, it's your gut's built-in cleaning crew. So after about 90 to 120 minutes after your last bite, your small intestine starts sending powerful waves of contractions that sweep out leftover food particles, debris, and bacteria that don't belong there. So basically that rumbling of the stomach, it is your internal housekeeper. And basically it can only clean up when the kitchen is empty. So meaning it can only tend to your small intestine, to your large intestine, when you've not eaten for some time. So this process matters more than most value. And basically without it, bacteria can actually accumulate in the small intestines and start fermenting where they shouldn't. And so this is, if you're familiar, this is a condition called SIBO. And it's like small intestine bacterial overgrowth, something like that. But that migrating motor complex, that grumbling of the belly, is one of your primary defenses against that. Hi, Michael. Hi, my dear. It's also, what do I want to say? It's clear that it clears the slate before your next meal. And so, which is why people who give themselves real breaks between eating often notice less bloating and gas. And so it's basically like assisting your gut, I'm going to say well-being, when we actually have the opportunity to have a break between when we've last eaten and when we eat again. All right? And so the other thing I'm going to say, this is something that I've known always. Actually, I've known this other thing too, but I didn't know it as precisely as I'm sharing it now. But this is really cool, and I've shared this with fat burners for a long time. So when we've gone for a little bit of time without food and our gut is doing its housekeeping, your metabolism is also doing its own version of the same thing. And so when blood sugar gently dips when we're not eating, your pancreas, your body's job is to keep you alive. So all of the kind of like markers, levels, rates, like all of the things that we measure, that adjust, they're all in place to keep us alive. And so what's so cool about it is that when we understand a little bit more about what's doing what, then in an instance like this, a negative can actually become quite a positive, and something that we might even either, I don't know if people deliberately try to make their belly rumble, but at the very least let the line out and not freak out about it. So anyway, so when we go for a little bit without food, and our blood sugar starts to dip a little bit, your pancreas releases a hormone called glucagon, and which is basically the opposite of insulin. So if insulin is a fat storage hormone, glucagon is a fat releasing hormone. Glucagon tells your fat cells to release stored fatty acids, and it signals your liver to convert them into glucose to keep your blood sugar perfectly stable. So basically, by allowing yourself to get a little bit hungry, you passively speed up weight loss. And obviously it's like, what do I want to say? Like the goal, we're not talking about starving yourself. We're talking about allowing yourself to get a little hungry. And this is in reality kind of independent of calories. This is allowing your body to physiologically feel hunger, and for your body to mobilize more fat to keep your blood sugar up and even. So basically, your body literally just burns more fat to keep your blood sugar stable while you wait for your next meal. So that growl that you experience, that we all experience, it's not a crisis, it's a cleaning cycle, and it's a fat burning signal happening at the same time. And the big thing is that this only works if you let it. And so I feel like a lot of our society is kind of, again, this is sugar burning shit, like needing to eat all the freaking time. And the deal is you not only get the negative consequences of having food in your system often, which is reflected by high insulin levels, stores more of the fat, more of the food that you eat as fat, gives you less access to the energy that that food possesses, has a whole downward slope of shitty things that happen, including diabetes and heart disease at the end of that line. But then the deal is also, if you give yourself a chance to let the line out, then you get to experience all these positive things, which is like a healthier gut, less crappy bacteria in your intestines, and then you get to passively speed up weight loss. Amazing. And so basically, when you constantly snack, you reset the whole cycle each and every time. And so that migrating, what is it called? Motor complex can't finish its sweep, and glucagon never gets its moment. And so I'll say also, even stress interferes because the fight or flight mode shuts down digestive motility entirely. So just a little FYI, if you're someone who's either concerned about their health or prioritizes their health and like freaks out about it, or doesn't prioritize keeping stress low, that seems a little counterproductive. So just to like say that and hopefully not sound like an asshole. So what are some simple things to do that support this process? Space your meals out. And this is actually something, I'm gonna say these things and then I'm gonna go back to spacing your meals out. Space your meals, let hunger actually arrive before you eat, a novel concept, and then give yourself a 12 to 14 hour overnight, window of not eating. And so for most of us, that's not so hard. Like, don't eat between 8 at night and 8 in the morning. Like, that sounds reasonable, I think, hopefully. And so with this, it's like, this is not punishment. This is not meant to be painful. It's really like you are putting your body through its own maintenance and even like amplification of weight loss, should you wish to be doing that. And so I'll just say this, like regarding spacing your meals, I think that in the realm, even if you're someone that's like, right, you know, I shouldn't be eating all the time. I do intermittent fasting, but I do like a 4-hour window, a 6-hour window. Like most people think that a shorter window is like the thing to do. And the thing I want to say that's actually maybe a bit contradictory, a bit contrary to that, is that the body needs to reset after it eats. So in my opinion, when I work with people and we get to the point of eating twice a day, it's not stacked close together because of reasons like this. Also because of protein synthesis. So basically, you want at least a 4-hour window in between meals to be able to activate protein synthesis. There's a certain protein threshold. It's like 30 grams of leucine or 20, something like that. So it's like if you're eating animal flesh, getting 20 grams of protein would be amazing. But that threshold is what triggers protein synthesis. But the deal is if you had 20 grams of protein, for example, and then 2 hours later, you had more, you wouldn't actually trigger protein synthesis because your body needs to recalibrate. It needs to go through this whole cycle and have time in between it to be ready again. And it's the same thing with this migrating motor complex. 90 to 120 minutes. You need at least that to enable your body to start this other healthful, healing, supportive process. Okay? You know, and so one thing I'll just say, so maybe just a few kind of like top tips in conjunction with what we're talking about right here. Number one, eating less often is so necessary. We're actually only meant to really tolerate 1 to 2 spikes of insulin a day. So it's like we're made to eat 1 to 2 times a day. Then, regarding doing intermittent fasting, what I would suggest is to focus on the number of meals you're going to eat. I would encourage 2, 3 max. That's like 3 max. But actually having time in between them. Because what that does is it enables things like this to reset. And it also enables you to get hungry. And that's really consequential. Like we shouldn't be eating if we're not hungry. If you have a certain medical condition that I have no idea about, not a doctor and not a scientist, if you've been instructed for very particular reasons, that's one thing. But if it's like because I think I should, that is not a great reason, especially with food. Anyway, and then enabling yourself to have like a wide window between when you stop eating at night and when you eat again the next day. And hopefully that's not a crazy thing to propose. All right? So that's it. Essentially, your body knows what it's doing. And sometimes, honestly, it's best like to get out of its way. This is where fasting works and works so well. We are in the middle of boosting. This is a mini course that advanced fat burners do where they learn to do, or they just practice doing 36 to 48 hour fasts. And basically it's just such a therapeutic tool. It speeds up weight loss. It slows aging. It like reabsorbs extra flesh. This is why a lot of fat burners don't have excess skin, even if they've lost a bunch of weight. When they do these longer fasts, the body basically, it digests, it breaks that dead protein down. What was I gonna say? It's like an anti-cancer approach, honestly, with a process called apoptosis. And then also it supports every system of the body. It helps prevent dementia and Alzheimer's, helps with heart health, gut health in a huge way. It's just kind of like across the board. Gives you endless energy. It's crazy. Sometimes people have trouble sleeping because you have so much freaking energy. It's nuts. But But anyway, that's just a reparative tool that we're all made to do. And when fat burners are very well established, it's just so easy to do. And then in our program, we have tools and tactics. We have a structure, so people are clear what to do, how to keep themselves comfortable, and then how to do this with regularity, which is like really how fasting works best. Either you're doing like, I'm going in, you know, for however many days, or you're doing this with some consistency, and you really get a ton of benefit from it. All right, so that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And if you are someone who would like to get out of the bonds of being in a sugar burning mode, where you feel like you have to eat all the time, where you're hungry, where you have incessant cravings, where your energy is like, you know, through the floor and in your shoes, making you need to grab something that's higher glycemic, higher carbohydrate, please consider getting your body into a fat burning mode. It is a freeing state. Please consider undergoing a mitochondrial reconstruction and literally changing how your body works. And when it does, you can do all sorts of crazy shit and have your cake and eat it too, with our carb feasts and strategy with using them. All right, so if any of that is interesting, please check out our sugar quiz. I'll attach it below this. Please watch the videos following that quiz. Please set up a time to talk if you're struggling in a certain way, or if you've really just had enough with not having what you want and want a clearer, straighter path. Please be in touch. All right, I hope this was amazing. Love to you, and until next time.